Namaskaram to all of you and welcome to the next session. Om Apyayantu Mamangani Vakpranaschakshushrotramatho Balamindriyani cha Sarvani Sarvam Brahmopanishadam Aham Brahma Nirakuryam Mama Brahma Nirakarot Anirakaranamastu Anirakaranam Mestu Tadatmanirate Upanishatsu Dharmaha Te Mai Santu Te Mai Santu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We had just started talking about the sadhanas or means to liberation as established in the Vishistadvaita system of philosophy. We have seen a little bit of introduction on that. So basically here we are talking about means to liberation. Vedas have lots of means for various other fruits, benefits. But our interest here is mainly to understand means to liberation. That is the Purushartha. Tattva, Hita, Purushartha are the three parts. The nature of reality, the nature of means, and the nature of the goal, to attain the goal, which is the Parama Purushartha, ultimate goal. To attain that, what is the means is what we are going to talk about. There are two types of means that are two specific means which are told in the Vedas. One is called Bhakti Yoga or Upasane, and the other one is called Prapatti or Sharanagati, which is called self-surrender. Both these are independent means to liberation. And the Bhakti Yoga has several varieties of Bhakti Yogas are told. The means to liberation are told in 32 different ways. 32 different means are told. All are means to liberation only. So any one has to be practiced to attain liberation. So that is also established in the Brahma Sutra. Vikalpaha Vishistaphalatvat. So there is choice. Because any one of them, if you adopt, you will get the ultimate benefit, the goal. There is nothing beyond that to be achieved. And that goal is something which is eternal. It is not transient like the benefits, any other benefits that we attain through other means, like dharma, artha, kama. Four purusharthas. Dharma, artha, kama, the three categorized as one group. And moksha is a separate purushartha. It is categorized. Trivarga and apavarga, they are called. So the fruits that are attained by any other means, like the yajna, yagas and all those things, they are all limited in time, in experience, etc. So they are not eternal. And the moksha is the only eternal benefit, ultimate. So the means to that, 32 means are told. In that, Sharanagati is also included. Any one can be adopted because the benefit is the same for all of them. And both of them, the Prapatti is something which is self-surrender, it is called. It can be done for any benefit. And a Bhakti Yogi also does Prapatti for several benefits that he gets. Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, or Bhakti Yoga. These are all very, very difficult means, not easy to practice. And there could be many obstructions to everything that we do, even for Sharanagati, there will be obstructions. There will be Bhakti Yoga also obstructions. For that, we have to again pray to the Lord to eliminate all the obstructions so that we can continue with our practice of means. So Sharanagati can be practiced, attained, adopted as an accessory means or a primary means. Accessory means through that we attain some other benefit. Primary means directly we get moksha from that. That is how. So a bhakti yogi also practices. He has to do prapatti. And for prapatti also bhakti is required. So bhakti and bhakti yoga are different. That we saw about it last time. Bhakti is general devotion. That is for anyone should have devotion. That is the devotion we get towards somebody who is superior to us. When we see somebody superior to us, we normally bow down in front of them. So like that, out of devotion, out of love. And when we know that the Supreme Lord is most compassionate, most powerful, omniscient, and he is the one who can grant us all the benefits, we surrender unto him to pray and then pray him for eliminating all the obstructions which are there to even to start Bhakti Yoga itself. And after having started, to end also there could be obstructions. So that also we again pray to the Lord. This is one way of using prapatti as an accessory means to Bhakti Yoga. And a person who uses directly Sharanagati has to also have devotion. Bhakti should be there also, but he doesn't use Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is a specific means defined in a particular way. It has to be practiced only like this. That is Bhakti Yoga. That has to be done with devotion. Sharanagati also has to be done with devotion. Any other means has to be done with devotion. Even if you do a yaga, Ashwamedha yaga or Vajpayee yaga or whatever yagas and other karmas told in the Vedas, we are actually offering something to the devotee who will give us the benefit, like Indra, or Varuna, or Agni, etc. And that has to be done with devotion. That the God has to be pleased for us to get the benefit. We have to please the God with our work, with the karma that we are doing. Then only we get the benefit. Similarly, for Bhakti Yoga also, we have to meditate upon the Lord with love, with devotion, so that He will grant us the benefit. And the first eligibility for Bhakti Yoga or Prapatti is interest in attaining liberation. It is not easy for everyone to get this interest. Most people are interested in getting worldly benefits only, like money or status or long life or good health, etc. Most people are interested in only these things. If you ask somebody you want deep liberation, they may not be interested. So that desire to get liberation, liberated from this world, is one very important eligibility to start with for anybody, for Bhakti Yoga or Prapatti, both. One should have a great desire to get rid of this cycle of birth and death, samsara. Then only one will even think about, now I want to get rid of this samsara, it's full of grief only. And whatever happiness we get, it is all limited here. When we realize that, then we want to attain, then we think about how should I get rid of this cycle of death and birth. Then we learn about these means which are prescribed in the Shastra to get rid of this samsara. So that desire should be, first thing is that desire. That is very important. So that mumukshutva, it is called. Mumukshutva means a desire to attain moksha. Moksha is liberation. So the means liberation, bhakti and prapatti. For bhakti, the qualifications are knowledge of Shastra and all is required. Satsangati is required for everything. It's a general requirement. Shastra, because Veda Adhyayana has to be done, and we have to understand how it is taught in the Upanishads, what it means, and how to practice it. We have to learn, go and take refuge at a teacher, master who is already practicing it, and we have to get instruction on how to practice it from the master who is already doing it. And it requires bhakti, devotion is required. Then one has to do karma yoga. Karma yoga is another means prescribed in the Shastra. And to attain, this is to attain self-realization. So we have individual self and supreme self, Jivatma and Paramatma. First we have to know who we are, Jivatma. Who am I? First we have to know. Then when we realize that we are individual selves who are utterly subservient to the Supreme Lord, we don't have any capability. All the benefits are given, fruits are given by the Supreme Lord only. He is the one who is the creator of this world. Because of him only sustenance also happens. He is the one who does dissolution. And he is the grantor of all the fruits, benefits from any karma. And all these things, when we realize and we are subservient to him, he is our supreme master, then we will want to attain him. So first we have to realize our nature. That is done through Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga can directly lead to self-realization, or Karma Yoga can lead to Jnana Yoga and then self-realization. That's called Atma Avalokana. And then one will be eligible to start Bhakti Yoga. Then through that Bhakti Yoga, Paramatma's realization of the Supreme Self happens. So this is one path, one of the means prescribed for liberation. The other one is Prapatti. For this, we don't need a very great detailed knowledge of the Shastras. Even if you have not studied, it's okay. But we have to know that we are utterly dependent on the Lord. There is a Supreme Lord. There is a Supreme Self, Paramatman, who is the creator, who is the grantor of all benefits. And our real nature is not to suffer like this in this world. Our real nature is to be most happy and serve the Lord. That is our real nature. This a Bhakti Yogi realizes after doing Karma Yoga for a long time. This general knowledge is required for Prapatti. That will do, and then they should have utter faith in the Acharya. Through him he does Prapatti. Or he can do directly if he has complete knowledge. And what is the relation between the Supreme Lord and myself? All this we have to have. And then we should have one important thing is we should realize that we are not capable of studying all the Vedas, performing Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. I can't even think of practicing that. It is most difficult. And I don't have the time to do it. For a Bhakti Yogi may have to do Bhakti Yoga for many births. I cannot do that. I don't have the capability. I don't have the knowledge. I don't have the capacity to practice it. I don't have the adhikara, eligibility to study Vedas itself. May not be there. All these, when they are not there, they become qualification for Prapatti. Such persons can perform Prapatti through an Acharya or directly also if they are capable of themselves doing with complete knowledge and how to practice it and all that. If they have learned from somebody, they can actually do that through an Acharya. This is surrendering the burden of self-protection to the Lord. Whereas here Bhakti Yogi, what he does is, he says, I will meditate for every day throughout my life and for many births if I have to do, and then please you and get your grace and then attain you. Bhakti Yogi says. A Prapanna says, I don't have that capability, but I want liberation. I have utter faith that you are going to grant me this. And I will follow the Shastras. I will not do anything that is told in the Shastras as not to be done. And I have no other means to go. I have no other protector. You are the ultimate protector, I know. I have utter faith in you. So I am offering my burden of protection to you. You have to protect me. So do this, and I pray to you to protect me. Then the Lord will protect. This is what the Shastras say. That is called prapatti. For this, everybody has the eligibility. There is no distinction of caste, creed, or age, or knowledge, or anything. So this is one of the biggest contributions, the greatest contributions of Vishistadvaita school of philosophy to the whole world. Everybody can get liberated. Everybody has the capability, eligibility to get liberated. Is established here through Shastra only, through Pramanas. So the very first step for a seeker to proceed in the path of sadhana, either a bhakti yogi or prapanna, is to acquire the necessary knowledge. Tattva jnana has to be done there. And the knowledge is divided into two parts, para and apara we saw last time. Apara vidya is called, it is foundational knowledge, studying the Vedangas and all that for bhakti yoga, as told in the Upanishad. Or having a general knowledge about the self, nature of the self, the supreme self, the relation between the two. He is the grantor of all fruits and all those things. These are all taught by acharyas. One cannot acquire this knowledge directly, because even if, however intelligent one person is, a Brahma Vidya, these both are called Brahma Vidyas. Sharanagati, surrendering, is also Brahma Vidya. Bhakti Yogi is also Brahma Vidya. Brahma Vidya has to be acquired. The knowledge required for that, Tattva Jnana, has to be acquired through an Acharya only, is told in the Upanishad itself. So this Paravidya is something which the ultimate, directly, which helps us to attain the Lord. That is performing the means. So we attain the knowledge, Tattva Jnana, and then we do the Anushtana. We put it into practice. So all these things are required as per the Shastra, they are told. The knowledge acquired from the scriptures should be without doubt and wrong understanding, etc. This is why we go and learn it from an Acharya who has learned from his master, who it has come in this parampara of Acharya Shishya Parampara, unbroken chain of tradition of master and student. It has come like that. Then only we get proper knowledge, how to understand the nature of the self, nature of the supreme self, etc. It has to be learned through a master only. Ananya prokte gatiratra nasti. Nachiketa tells Yama Dharmaraja in Kathopanishad. He says this has to be learned from others only. Yama Dharmaraja says Nachiketa, this knowledge has to be acquired through an Acharya only. One cannot get it himself. So Yama, he asks Yamaraja to teach him that knowledge, that supreme knowledge. So for seekers who are, then only it will be clear. Otherwise they will get wrong knowledge. They may have doubts, lot of doubts. If I study myself, I will get lot of doubts. This is true for anyone. All our acharyas very clearly state this. Shankaracharya, Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya, all of them, and all other acharyas who will come after that, who are before that, they all agree without any difference that this knowledge has to be acquired only through an acharya, because it is prescribed like that in the Upanishad itself. And seekers who are after the three Purushartha, Dharma, Artha, Kama, they study Vedas, and they have to study the Purvamimamsa Shastra of Jaimini, which is like a commentary on the earlier part of the Veda, which is talking about all the karmas, yajna, yaga, and all those things. And they all are prescribed means to attain various Purusharthas. And why should they study the Purvamimamsa Shastra, which is like a commentary on the earlier part of the Veda in the form of sutras? And on that sutra, there are many commentaries written after that. through those commentaries and through an acharya, we've learned this. Then all the doubts will get cleared. And then they can perform those and attain those means, or perform those means and attain those benefits. For seekers of liberation, they have to study the Vedas. This is what talking about Bhakti Yoga first. Prapatti, I will talk about it later in detail. Then the Jaimini's Purva Mimamsa has to be studied again to understand that all the karmas which prescribe the various benefits of dharma, artha, kama alone, these are all transient, they are all short lived, and they are not permanent, and they end up in grief only after that. Once it is experienced, we have to again come back to this world, take the next birth. So we cannot escape the cycle of birth and death by any of these. One has to realize it properly. To understand that, they have to study Purvamimamsa Shastra, because Vedas cannot be understood directly. Purvamimamsa Sutras are the first level of commentary on the Vedas, but in the form of short aphorisms, sutras. They have 2 words, 3 words, 4 words like that. In very few words, great concepts are taught and all the doubts are cleared by Jaimini on the earlier part of the Vedas. That is called Purvamimamsa Shastra. Similarly, on the Upanishads, Badarayana has written in the form of sutras, which are like a commentary of the sutras, not a complete commentary, but clarifying all the doubts, resolving all the contradictions and everything, and establishing also a system of philosophy, Tattvahita Purushartha. So these two are absolutely important. Both put together is called one Shastra, Mimamsa Shastra, it's called. It is the school of thought which does inquiry on the Vedas and explains the sentences, Vedic sentences, without any doubt, and clarifies all the doubts that we may get and resolves mutual contradictions which are apparent, which are not really there. When we study directly, we may feel that there are a lot of contradictions. But when we study the sutras, we get all those doubts are clear for us. So, Purvamimamsa Shastra of Jaimini and Brahma Sutras of Badarayana are very important. A person who is not interested in liberation will not study the Brahma Sutras because he doesn't want liberation. He wants only the perform the karmas and attain those benefits. He will study Purvamimamsa Shastra to get all his doubts cleared and understand how to perform and all that. Person who is interested in liberation has to understand Brahma Sutras after that. Karmas, first he has to understand that karmas are all mere karmas without connection with the Supreme Lord. That is performing only, worshipping only the gods like Agni, Varuna, Indra, thinking that they will only give the fruits. They will only get limited benefits. But when they realize that there is a person who is the supreme master of all these gods also, who is the actual person who gives fruits of all the karmas through these gods, and he is the one we have to really worship. Whether knowingly or unknowingly, we are worshipping him only. But knowingly, if we worship, we get the ultimate benefits. Even if we worship that I am only worshipping Indra, who is the Lord, who only gives me the benefit, who is the God, we get limited benefit, but that also is given through the Supreme Lord only, but we don't know that, we don't realize it. But when we understand this and do it, the same karma, we are worshipping Lord, Supreme Lord through who is the inner self of Indra, who is the Antaryami of Indra also. So, Mameva tejanti avidhina, tejanti avidhina. It is not vidhipurvaka, vidhipurvaka that is told. As told in the Shastras, I am the Ishvaraha Sarvabhutana, Hrideshe Arjuna Tishtati. So, I am the Supreme Lord who is the inner self of all beings, he says. But people don't realize it. then they get limited benefits. When they realize it, they can even attain me. So a person after liberation will understand that mere karmas without the understanding of the nature of the Supreme Lord will yield very limited benefits for limited time. Whereas with the understanding of the Supreme Lord, it can yield supreme benefits. So once it becomes very clear that mere karmas cannot lead to liberation, one will move ahead to acquire the knowledge of Atman, Paramatman, etc. For this, one has to study the Upanishads. Upanishad statements are not very direct and they seem to have several apparent contradictions. In order to root out all those doubts and apparent contradictions, one has to study the Brahma Sutras. This knowledge has to be and can only be acquired through an acharya as per the Vedic command. There is a vidhi. Through him, through an acharya only, tadvijnanartham sa gurumeva abhigachet shrotriyam brahmanishtham. Mundakopanishad tells this, ordains that to understand the Supreme means, Supreme Lord, all these supreme truths of realities mean and the goal, one has to take refuge at a master, and then through the master's instruction only one can understand it without any doubt. So they explain through the Brahma Sutras, Upanishads and all that, the meanings of all these realities, what is the reality, what is the means, what is all that. So that can be understood through Brahma Sutras. Brahma Sutras themselves are very difficult to understand. Few words are there in each sutra. It's like a formula, aphorism. So our acharyas have written commentaries, detailed commentaries on Brahma Sutras. We study those commentaries, which will give us the meaning of the Brahma Sutras, which gives us the meaning of the Upanishads, which are talking about the supreme reality and all that. So like this, we understand the Tattva Jnana. This is how the scriptural knowledge has to be acquired. After acquiring the scriptural knowledge, you have to put it to practice. Then we do, one person who is interested in doing Bhakti Yoga will do Bhakti Yoga. Prapatti, we will talk about it later. Bhakti Yoga or Prapatti. For Prapatti, it is so much, it is not required because everybody may not be eligible to study all these things. So it has been taught like that in the Shastras. That we will talk about that means later. And Bhakti Yoga, before performing Bhakti Yoga, one has to do Karma Yoga to attain self-realization, or Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga combined to attain self-realization. In the system of philosophy, Vishistadvaita, Prapatti is also established as a direct means. This is through Shruti Pramana only. It is not that it is established without Pramana. This is established with Pramana only. So that is something which we have to understand. Just 1 minute. Somebody is annotating in this. Forgot to disable annotation, but somebody is already. I don't think. It's not going for some reason. Hmm. Let me see, it is not. A minute. Somebody has done some annotation which is not going. I forgot to disable annotation. Now I have disabled. Okay. Uh, Let me just try it once more. Okay. Yeah, no, it's gone. So Prapatti is also established as a direct means of liberation. And Prapatti is very much part of Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, but there it is used as an accessory, not as a means to liberation, but as a means to attain secondary benefits, as an accessory. For those who are incapable of practicing these yogas due to various reasons, such as lack of capability, lack of knowledge, ineligibility, Prapatti is the prescribed means to liberation. And as well established in the Shrutis, Smritis, Agamas, and all that, a general knowledge of the realities is necessary along with absolute faith in the Lord. This is one of the greatest contributions, as I told you, Prapatti. So now we talk about Karma Yoga. What is Karma Yoga? First we talk about Bhakti Yoga, and the accessories to Bhakti Yoga are Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. In the system of Vishistadvaita, it is established that Karma Yoga alone can lead to self-realization, or Karma Yoga can lead to Jnana Yoga and then lead to self-realization. So the fruit of performing Karma Yoga or Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga is the same, and that is nothing but realization of the individual self's nature, not the ultimate liberation. It is only the first step, the prerequisite to performing Bhakti Yoga. So the karma and karma yoga are different. Karma is any act prescribed in the Shastras to get some benefit, while karma yoga is a particular means prescribed to attain self-realization for Atma Avalokana. Like yaga, for example, if I say yaga, yaga is can be anything, any yaga. Whereas if I say Vajpayee yaga, it's a specific yaga. Ashwamedha yaga is one type of yaga. Yaga is a general word. Like that, karma can be any of the karmas. Yajna, yaga, dana, tapas, all are karmas. Out of that, karma yoga is one particular means to attain self-realization. So that is the difference between karma and karma yoga. And there are four types of karmas that we do broadly. Nitya karmas are daily ordained duties for everyone depending on one's station in life. That is Varna and Ashrama. Varna, Ashrama, Dharma. They are called Nitya karmas. Sandhya Vandana and all these things. Naimittika karmas are there. Occasional ordained duties. Like Grahana Snana, for example, etc. These are ordained duties based on some occasion called Naimittika karmas, Nimitta. Kamya karmas, karmas which will yield some fruits such as heaven, etc., long life, etc. The Nitya and Naimitika karmas are not yielding such fruits. There could be some which are also prescribed, but it depends on how we actually do the sankalpa to do. There are more intricacies in all these things that we are not going to too much detail of that. This is a broad classification. Nishiddha karmas are prohibited by Shastra, such as telling a lie, etc. Nanritam vadet, anrita means lie. One should not tell a lie. One should not lie, it says. So, these are the general categories of karmas found in the Vedas. Nitya karma, Naimitika karmas, Kamya karmas, Nishiddha karmas, etc. And karma yoga is a means, specific means for attaining self-realization. is to be done as prescribed in the Shruti, and it is explained in detail in the Bhagavad Gita. So the Smritis are called Upabrahmanas. The Ramayana, Mahabharata, Vishnu Purana, Bhagavata, etc., they are called Smritis. They are all called Upabrahmanas, means they expand and explain in great detail what is taught in the Shrutis. So they are called Upabrahmanas. Then one has to study Veda with the help of Upabrahmanas only. Otherwise, we cannot understand the Vedas. The Upabrahmanas will tell exactly more details and how to implement what is taught in the Shrutis can be found in that when somebody is practicing it like that. So they explain in detail and we can understand. Like Bhagavad Gita, if you see Karma Yoga, it explained in great detail how to perform Karma Yoga. Whereas if you go to the Shruti, you will not get all those details. Shruti will tell in a different way, in a very concise way, and in a very indirect way many times. It may not tell directly. Whereas the Upabrahmanas explain to us in more directly and more clearly, in more detail. So this Karma Yoga is for those who are interested in getting liberated from this cycle of birth and death as a first step to attain self-realization. It has several aspects embedded in it. Yoga is said to be Pariksha Shastra. One can examine oneself when they do Karma Yoga, etc. Or when you do yoga, generally meditation, etc. One can examine the results oneself. Somebody need not tell us whether we have got rid of our ego or desire in results of karmas. Others need not tell us. We know ourselves. Everyone knows how we are, what results we have got, what karmas we have done, what action we have done, what result I have got. Everyone knows themselves. So yoga is something which will give you that kind of an experience. One can realize the results. So if I have realized self, I will know myself. Somebody will not even know that one person has realized. By looking at a person, you cannot say whether he is realized himself or not. So these are the specific questions that Arjuna asked Krishna in Gita also. Sthita prajnasya ka bhasha, sthita dihi muni uchyate, kim prabhasheta. He says, what does he talk? What does he do? How does he behave? It's very difficult to find that one person who has realized himself will know himself that he has realized. For others, it's very difficult to find out. So this yoga is that kind of a shastra, pariksha shastra it's called. One can examine oneself. After the karma yoga, jnana yoga, etc., bhakti yoga, there can be, for all these things, there can be obstructions. To start karma yoga itself, there can be obstructions. These are all because of our purva janma karma. We have accumulated so much karma. We have been doing so much karmas all these lives from beginningless time, anadikala, that we are experiencing the fruits of those karmas which we did in earlier births or even in this birth earlier times. So there can be many fruits which come from the karmas which we have done, which are obstructing us from starting the karma yoga itself. Unless those are destroyed, one will not be able to start Karma Yoga. Even if I have great desire, I want to do Karma Yoga, I have all the eligibility, I will not be able to start because so many other karmas will be preventing it, obstructing it. In order to get rid of those, we surrender unto the Lord and seek His grace. That is, Sharanagati has to be done. This is exactly what Arjuna also does. He doesn't know what is dharma and adharma. He thinks that dharma yuddha which he is performing is actually adharma. He is doing adharma and he gets confused. He doesn't know what to do. So he surrenders to Krishna and says, I am surrendering unto you. Please tell me, show me the way. He surrenders unto the Lord. Then Krishna, out of compassion, he teaches him that if he has to understand difference between dharma and adharma and all these things, he has to get the knowledge of the self, the realities. Without that, he will not understand. So he starts teaching Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga. Arjuna doesn't ask him to teach Karma Yoga and all that. So that is where he uses Prapatti as a secondary means, as an accessory. So when karmas are done only for the purpose of liberation, with the following thoughts, I am doing this as a worship of the Lord. Any karma that we do, I am not the actual doer of this karma. This karma is not mine. This is called kartrutva tyaga, agency, giving up the agency of the karma. And that is as a worship of the Lord, Bhagavadaradhana Rupa. Karma is not mine, it's mamata tyaga. It is. I am not interested in the fruits, good or bad. This is phala tyaga. So when we do like this only, the karma will not bind us. It becomes nishkama karma and will not bind one to samsara, but helps in liberation. Karmas done with desire in fruits will give the fruits, and in order to experience the fruits, one has to get again, he will get births. And they bind, like that, they bind one in samsara. As the fruits have to be experienced. One cannot escape the consequences of one's action. That is very clearly established in the Shastra. One cannot escape the consequences of one's action if they do with a desire in the fruits. If they do without a desire in the fruit, thinking that I am not the real agent, I am not doing it, this is not my karma, and like that, with that thinking, that itself will not bind, the fruits will not bind him in the samsara. This is a very great thing we have to realize regarding the philosophy of work, karma, how to do karma. So we'll study a couple of shlokas of Bhagavad Gita to say how this is explained by the various acharyas. Very popular shloka is Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala heturbhuhu ma te sangostu akarmani is one shloka. The second chapter it comes, 47th shloka. Karmanyeva te adhikaraha. Your adhikara is your eligibility is only to do karma. Ma phaleshu, not in the fruits, the benefits. Ma karma phala heturbhuhu. Don't become the cause of the fruit of the karma. Ma sangaha astu akarmani. Not doing the karma is also not correct. Because of that, I should not stop doing karmas. One cannot escape karmas. So I should not get attached to not doing the karma. One should not give up karma. Karma has to be done, but with the thought that I am not doing it. The benefit is not for me. I am not interested in the benefit. If we just think about it, even in our worldly life, day-to-day life, whether we do our office work, go and do office work, if we don't get attached to the results, etc., whether we get promotion, not promotion, it doesn't bother me. But if I am attached to the benefits, I am interested. If I get a promotion, I will feel very happy. If I don't get promotion, I will be very depressed. This happiness and depression can be avoided if we do without a desire in the fruits. This is a very, very practical thing. Yoga is practical. That's what's called Pariksha Shastra. So for this, Ramanuja, Shankaracharya and Madhvacharya, all of them give the same kind of interpretation. They all agree Karma Yoga is very much common to all of them as a first step. For all the three systems of philosophy, Karma Yoga is the first step for a Bhakti Yogi to start for liberation. So the explanation can tell very clearly. This is the commentary I have put in Sanskrit, but I have also translated through, of course, through ChatGPT because it is very easy and it does a good job. Tat sambandhitaya avakateshu phaleshu na kadachitavi adhikaraha. I'll just read the translation. You have a right only with respect to the performance of the prescribed action. That means you have to do it. You never have any right over the results that become known in connection with that action. Therefore, do not regard yourself as the cause of the fruits of action, nor should you become attached to inaction, thinking I shall not act. Because I am not interested in fruit, why should I do this? You cannot think like that. One cannot avoid karma, and nitya naimitya karmas have to be done as prescribed in the Shastra. One cannot avoid it. Karmas one cannot avoid. We end up doing karmas only every day, every minute. Shankaracharya says, while performing action, let there not be any claim or attachment on your part to its fruits. The same meaning. Let there never be a craving for the results of action under any circumstances whatsoever. For when you develop a desire for the fruit of action, you become the cause or one motivated by the attachment to that fruit, of that fruit. Therefore, do not become one who acts for the sake of the fruits of action. Let there be no attachment in you to inaction. Let there be no liking to inaction or inaction towards inclination towards refraining from action. There is no difference if you see the commentaries. And Madhvacharya says, sin or adverse consequence arises only from the non-performance of the prescribed action. Prescribed actions has to be done. I cannot say I will not do anything because I am not the doer, I am not interested in the fruit, so why should I do any karma? I will not do any karma. I cannot say this. Prescribed actions have to be performed, but it has to be performed with these thoughts. That is the secret of performing karmas. So that is very clearly told here also. And not from the non-attainment of its result due to knowledge, detachment, or absence of desire. Hence, your authority lies only in the performance of action. One for whom the fruit of action is the motive for undertaking that action is called a karma pala hetu. One who acts for the sake of the fruit. Do not become such a person. The meaning is do not have attachment or affection for refraining from action. If you see, there is no difference between among the three masters with regard to karma yoga, performance of karma, how one should do. One should not do without any desire in the fruits. One should do without any desire in the fruits. I will do karma because it's a prescribed karma and I am doing it. Any karma that we do, we have to do like this. If we practice this, even in our everyday life, we can see that we will get rid of all our stress and all those things to a great extent if we perform this. May not be for liberation or anything, but I am just doing all my acts without any, I am not attached to the fruits. I am not interested in that. If we have this thought itself behind every action that we do, it can give us great relief, great benefits in day to day. So that is how this is explained. Karma Yoga, part of how to do karma. And you cannot refrain from karma also. You have to do it. You cannot say, I will not do because anyway I am not interested in food. Why should I do? Like that. What is prescribed in the Shastra has to be done only. And another important shloka. Yogasthaha kuru karmani sangam tektva dhananjaya. The main teaching in Bhagavad Gita is sangam tektva. Attachment, get rid of attachment, get rid of attachment. That is his mind, this is I am doing, mine, this is mine, this fruit is mine, I am interested in the fruit. Attachment causes us to do more and more of the same thing. And because of that only we suffer ultimately. Siddhya siddhyoho samo bhutva. Have developed equanimity towards whether you get fruits or not. Samatvam yoga uchyate. Equanimity of mind. That is required. For three acharyas comment on this shloka, abandoning attachment, perform actions such as fighting. In this case, it is dharma yuddha for him. Fighting means not that we fight every day with every other person. That is not meant here. Yuddha is told here. What is told here into Arjuna specifically because that is a dharma yuddha. He is fighting for the cause of dharma because the other side were doing all adharma. They were doing against Shastra. So that a Kshatriya, a king's duty is to establish dharma. So it becomes his varnashrama dharma, that he has to do it. If he doesn't do it, it is a sin on his part. He is committing a sin. So he has to do it. It is ordained that he has to do it for a kshatriya, for a king, to establish the dharma in the country, in the world. So that from that point of view, it is told here. So being established in yoga, perform them remaining equal-minded in success and failure. Because it is not any consequence to a person, and including victory and the like that are contained within them. This equanimity with regard to success and failure is what is denoted by the word yoga in the expression being established in yoga, yogasthaha, being established in yoga. Yoga is the composure and steadiness of mind that takes the form of equality towards success and failure. This is the one general explanation of yoga. Same thing Shankaracharya says, being established in yoga, perform actions. Perform them solely for the sake of the Lord. O Dhananjaya, abandoning attachment even in the form of thinking, may the Lord be pleased with us. See, so such an ultimate level, Shankaracharya explains. The same meaning, explaining it much more, with more clarity here, with respect to Karma Yoga. Even thinking that may Lord be pleased with us also we should not have, he says. If he pleases, it is good. Out of his own liking, he should get pleased. I am not doing with that also in mind. It is ultimate. And when action is performed without craving for its fruits, there arises success in the form of the attainment of knowledge born of purity of the mind, sattva shuddhi. You will not have any depression, anything. Even our worldly life, daily, day-to-day life, in our office or day-to-day work, if we practice this, it gives us great benefit. And we can avoid a lot of general stress and depression, and all these problems can be avoided if we do karmas like this. And with regard to both such success and failure, remain equal-minded, perform your act. It's not easy, very difficult. But if we start practicing it daily, we will get benefit definitely over a period of time. There is no doubt about it. So Madhvacharya says the present verse clarifies the meaning of the previous verse. Yogastaha means being established in the means, upaya, having abandoned attachment, that is, attachment to the fruits of action, not the action itself. The action cannot be left out, but the fruits have to be given up. Consequently, becoming equal-minded with respect to success and failure. So you have to perform the karma, but don't be interested in fruits. And that very state is what I have referred to as yoga, is what Krishna is telling his Madhvacharya says. So if you see, there is hardly any difference between the three acharyas with respect to karma yoga. The first level in any of these Vedantic systems, performing karma yoga and performing karmas without desiring the fruits, with the thinking that I am not the real doer of this and this is not mine, I am not attached to this. Then we get attachment, we keep doing it again and again, and more fruits will come, more consequences. We will have to experience them. Then again we have to take birth. And so this cycle goes on repeating. And if the fruit dose is not favorable to us, we get depressed, we become sad. If it is favorable, we feel very happy and we want to do it again and again. These are all the things which are behind the philosophy of work, how we can keep performing work, but we need not get disturbed by the fruits. This is a very, very great teaching of Bhagavad Gita, which is nothing but an explanation of what is taught in the Shrutis, in the Vedas, about how to perform karma. That is the essence, one of the most important parts of the Karma Yoga, how to do. And ultimately, Lord says, Mai karmani, sarvani karmani sanyasya adhyatma chetasa. Why we should do it, how to do it, all that are explained in great detail in the Bhagavad Gita itself. But we are not going into so much detail. I am just telling the essential part of it. How can I say I am not the doer? How can I say I am not interested? Like that, and now we may ask questions. Those are all explained in great detail in Bhagavad Gita, that we have to study the entire Bhagavad Gita fully to understand that first 6 chapters will explain us in great detail about all these things. I am not going into those details here. I'm just telling the essential points because it's a short introductory course. मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि सन्न्यस्य अध्यात्मचेतसा निराशीः निर्ममः भूत्वा युध्यस्व विगतज्वरः. The first part, Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya, is telling giving up the agency of the action. The Kartrutva Tyaga. Nirashihi tells giving the desire in the fruits. Nirmamaha, giving up the desire in the attachment towards it is mine, the thought of mine. So here if you see, the commentaries are most wonderful. Ramanuja says, Mai Sarveshware, Sarva Bhuta Antaratma Bhute. I am the Supreme Lord. I am the inner self of all the beings. Sarva Bhuta Antaratma Bhute. We studied all this in the nature of Brahman. When we studied the Supreme nature of the Supreme Brahman, that he is Sarveshwara, Sarvantara Bhuta and all that. सर्वाणि कर्माणि अध्यात्म चेतसा सन्न्यस्य निराशीः निर्ममः विगतज्वरः युद्धादिकं सर्वं चोदितं कर्म कुरुष्व चोदितं कर्म ordained works ordained karmas duties स्वकीयेन आत्मना कर्त्रा स्वकीयैः एव करणैः स्वाराधनैक प्रयोजनाय परमपुरुषः सर्वशेषी स्वयमेव सर्वकर्माणि कारयति इति अनुसन्धाय कर्म ममतारहितः. Lord is getting it done through me for his own purposes, through his own instruments which he has given to me. This body, if you see, think about it, this body, our sense organs, all these things, how did we get? Who gave it to us? How did we get? It's not simply coming just like that. And everyone has got different things, all based on their experiences are different. These are all given by the Supreme Lord. He is the creator, ultimate creator. He is a impartial judge based on our what karmas we have done in earlier births. He gives them those bodies, those sense organs and all those things. So he has given all that. This is what we have to keep in mind. And then we can think that it is not my karma. I am not doing it like that. And Shankaracharya explains in much more powerfully. Maya Vasudeve Parameshware Sarvajne Sarvatmani Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya Adhyatma Chetasa Viveka Buddhya Aham Karta Ishwaraya Bhrityavate. I am doing like a servant to the master. Ishvara is the master. I am the Bhritya servant. I am doing this like a duty of a servant towards the master. With that mind, Ityanaya Buddhya निराचीः निराशीः त्यक्ताशीः निर्ममः मम भावश्च निर्गतः यस्य तव. All these things are told like that. मय्येव सन्न्यस्य भ्रान्त्या जीवे अध्यारोपितानि. Madhvacharya says we have superimposed on the self that I am the real doer, but I am not the real doer. Supreme Lord is the real doer. So adhyaropita means superimposed, false superimposition. All those things, if you study the English meaning, it will tell you in more detail. This is the very important part of Karma Yoga that we have to understand. That this explanation of this shloka, this is a very important shloka in Bhagavad Gita, which tells how to actually perform the karmas. There are long explanations. These English translations are there. We have already come to the end of the session today, so we shall take up this little bit more detail in the next session. With that, I offer my pranamams and conclude today's session. Om Shri Krishna Arpanavastu. And leave the class open for any questions.
Swami, today was the last class.
Today was the
Last class in this session. Swami, in future, any other session will happen?
Yes, it is. This is the 15th session that we are doing. There will be another 5-6 sessions or probably few more to conclude. This is a complete course giving a brief introduction to the entire system of Vishistadvaita philosophy. And they are all available in YouTube recordings. I have been putting the links in the group. You can check about them.
I am asking that you will teach us another session.
Oh, okay.
Another.
After this course, you want some other text is what you are telling, is it?
So any other session will happen in future.
That way, I have not decided yet. We will see. First, let us complete this and then we will think about it.
Swami Jai Srimanam.
I have a
But I
small
will miss that session.
question.
Tell me.
Yeah, you explained the path of Prapatti, where there is knowledge of Jiva and Ishvara and the realization in the beginning, and then the insight that I'm having lack of capacity, capability, etc. And last time you also explained that there are people who are like making poems on the Kenkaryambha, where they describe how they are serving Narayana in the Paramadhama. So my
Yeah.
question is like studying this kind of poetry, is this also a part of Prapatti, or like is this also a valid means to study this kind of
It is not,
poetry?
it is not a prescribed means, but it will help us to get more devotion towards the Lord. And then
Okay.
firm belief towards what we are doing in the prapati that we are doing. In order to get firm belief, if we study all our great our masters, our acharyas, or the great devotees of the Lord, who have actually realized the Lord and praised Him in such wonderful uh, upasharam systems, stotras or poems, etc. It will help us to get more faith and belief, and it will give us great joy to understand, to know that such a Lord exists, and these people have experience like this, and I will also want to do it. I also want to do. So it gives us that kind of a joy, and then the knowledge that will help us definitely. It
Okay.
is
And
not
is
prescribed. It is not a prescribed thing. That will also help us to understand more with the nature of the Lord and all that.
okay, but this just like reading this kind of prayers and poems, it will not substitute the prapatti path, like
No,
acquiring
no,
knowledge of the jiva and learning this path
no.
from the proper
Knowledge,
acharya.
knowledge of the jiva, it will help. But if we just study ourselves, we may not understand fully how they have actually experienced and they have praised the Lord. If I study a poem of a devotee like Tulsidas or Kanagadas or Alvars or these great devotees, by just reading the poem and understanding, I may not get understand proper understanding. I will have to go to a master and they will explain what is the meaning of that and what we need to understand from that. So it will definitely help us to understand the nature of the self and all that because they have expressed, they have understood themselves, their nature, and they have praised the Lord. So, how they have understood themselves, we can know from that through an acharya when you go and study this under them. So, it will definitely help. That is why some of
Okay.
the important works, there are commentaries written even for those. Apart from the Upanishads and all that, the Ramayana has commentaries, Bhagavad Gita has commentaries, our Alvar's Pasharams has commentaries, and Tulsidas' poems are all explained with commentaries. So those commentaries will help us when we study through an acharya. They also lead to all this knowledge, definitely.
Yeah. But so merely this being touched by the devotion, that emotion is has this kind of emotion any power to transform?
As per emotion has, I didn't understand your question clearly.
Does the emotion, if one reads the poetry of these acharyas,
Yeah,
does this emotion and the desire itself, will this bring us to anywhere?
that emotion itself, without the knowledge of the reality, will not help us. The knowledge of the reality is important. We have
Okay.
great emotion towards the Lord. Why? Why do we have? What is the nature of the person for me to get such an emotion? Why should I love him? Why should I like him? What is his nature? We have to understand who is the Lord. What is his nature? When we understand, then our emotion will be properly directed and it will be proper. Without understanding nature, we can't even get such emotion. If I don't know a person, how will I get emotion towards a person like that? We feel joy, some kind of a joy, but that itself will not, it is not complete. When we read some nice poem, even if we read some nice English poem, we may get happiness. But that is not what is important. What is important is to get liberation. We have to get that kind of an emotion towards the Supreme Lord who will actually grant us the liberation. So we have to know there is one who will grant us liberation. He has these qualities, this nature, and I am related to him this way, and then get the emotion toward person. Then it will help us to go towards liberation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Namaskaram. I have a
Namaskar.
question on the adhikaris of Bhakti Yoga. You said only the adhikaris can study the Vedas.
Yeah.
But if we say that what is in the Vedas, it is also in the Upabrahmanas, the Smritis, the Alvar Pasurams, and all the other. So if the same as Ramayana, Mahabharata, so if the same message can be learned through an acharya with these granthams, does it give the adhikaram or it still does not give the adhikaram
It,
for
it,
Bhakti Yoga? And then maybe another question. Yeah, sorry.
it doesn't give the adhikara because Vedas, why we have to study is when the Upanishad, when the Upasana as prescribed in the Veda has to be done, the mantras which are exactly prescribed in the Vedas, those have to be chanted in the way as prescribed in the Veda itself. So if I have to chant the Vedic mantra in a particular way, I should have studied it through a master. To study that Vedic mantras, to chant with the swara, chandas and all those things properly, I have to, through a master, should have the eligibility to study Vedas. Otherwise, I cannot study. So without that, I cannot do Upasana.
Okay, so the Bhakti Upasana, Bhakti Yoga Upasana can only be done through
Yes,
learning the Vedas, not
absolutely.
by learning Smritis, even if they give you the same message.
No.
Okay.
Smritis have to be studied to understand the meanings without any doubt and any contradiction and all those things. But
And
the
so then
Vedic
the last.
mantras have to be
Mhm.
put to practice. They have to be used while performing the upasana. Those mantras have to be chanted in a particular way. For
Mhm.
that, we should have studied those Vedas and Upanishads. That can be done only through a master.
Mhm.
Nobody can study, and today nobody is studying also without any master's help. Nobody can study through a book
Yeah.
or something like that, Vedas. So that
Okay.
eligibility is a must.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then if the Bhakti Yoga adhikaris are given in Brahma Sutras, where is it
No,
defined?
Bhakti Yoga Adhikari is given in the Veda itself.
Okay.
Who is the Adhikari? One who has undergone Upanayana and all
Mm-hmm.
those things. He is a Ashtavarsham Brahmanam Upanayita Tam Adhyapayet. These are all Vedic instructions, Vedic ordainments, commands.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Who is eligible for performing, for doing, getting Upanayana done
Mm-hmm.
and to learn Veda and all those things. So it is as per the Shrutis
In the
itself.
Vedas. Okay.
Shrutis,
Then
yeah,
yes.
yeah, absolutely.
Then yes. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So if there are no more questions, I shall conclude today's session. Prabhu Shri Krishna Arpanastu.